Okay. Hey guys, so I decided I'm gonna have to readjust some things with this PC. So the one that I've been using for AI now. So we're gonna put in a dual GPU setup. I've already been testing one of these right here, and we're gonna have to take out one of these two GPUs down here. We're gonna go from like 3 hodgepodge to 2 of the same, because 2 of the same I think will give me access to other things. And I need them to be dual slot so I can fit multiple GPUs. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using 2 of this. This is the Radeon AI Pro Creator from ASRock. We're going to be adding this, and we're going to combine that with this one. This is the XFX. It's upside down. The XFX Radeon AI Pro R9700. So both of these GPUs have the same amount of VRAM as the RTX 5090, but they are 2-slot blower style cards, which means it's easy to stack them close to each other without issues with heat. So the one thing though is that these GPUs, and you guys, I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me see if I can bring this closer. So you guys can kind of see right there. I don't know if that's going to help, but there's basically these GPUs. If you didn't watch the unboxing video, the Radeon AI Pro cards, they use the same power connector that the RTX 50 series cards use, you know, the infamous 12-volt high power cable. I really don't like that they use those because they're like 300 watt TDP. So I don't know why they need to use those, but I guess it's simpler from a cabling standpoint when you put 2 of them in there with just 2 cables for each, 1 per GPU, as opposed to what, like 2 8-pins, which is what they would normally use. Okay, so because of that, I need to upgrade the power supply if I want to run more than 1, I don't know, well, 2 or 3 graphics cards. So what I'm going to do, the main purpose of this is to swap the power supplies. So basically I'm just going to be talking with people watching while I change out the power supply and I install these 2 graphics cards. So we've covered this PC before. If you don't remember, this is the computer that we did a live stream build. This is probably the very first computer that I did a live stream build on. I want to say like it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2023 when I built this computer. So this is my Threadripper PC. If you guys didn't already notice, you can see in here the Threadripper. Here, let me go ahead and see if I can move this camera. Maybe this will be okay. Yeah, that's better. So you guys can see. Oh, it's kind of wobbly. Hold on. Maybe move it over here. It's gonna make it too close to the microphone though. Hold on. You put the camera like this, and then okay. So move this over, or maybe this way. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the Threadripper. You can see in here we have the AIO. This is a 360, or is it 420? I forget. This is the Silverstone AIO custom made for the Threadripper computer. So the pump block goes all the way over the entire ILM for the Threadripper. It covers more than just the IHS. It actually covers, you know, the entire thing in here. It's very hard to do this, but it's like kind of like right in there. And you can see my RDIMM RAM channel A, B, C, and D, or whatever. So that's basically it. What else do I need to do? Okay, I'm going to open the back here, because I am going to have to take this apart. I got to pull all the cables out. Yeah, this is industrial grade, this AIO. So this is like heavy duty stuff here. Yeah. Let's see. I guess what I'll do is I will take out all the PCIe things. So yeah, let's do that first. How do I want to do this so you guys can even see what I guess I'll have to do it like this. Put this here and then kind of lean this over. This case is extremely heavy. Let me see if that get a good. I don't know. Is that gonna get a good camera angle? Maybe not. I don't know. Didn't really think this through. Okay, yeah, you guys can see all the cards in there. Okay, so here's the Radeon GPU. Underneath it is the Intel Arc. You guys will see that when I take it out. Here is the 12-volt high power cable. Okay, you can barely even see that. Here, let me just lift this up for a little bit here. Yeah, there, that's better. Although it's upside down. So here's the Radeon GPU. Underneath here, this is the Intel B50, the Pro card. Then we have a professional Radeon. We have a USB 4 Thunderbolt 4 down in here. Then we have a RAID card right here that has 4 NVMe SSDs in here. So fully loaded, except I'm not able to leverage the. Actually, no, this is fully loaded. Yeah, this is jam-packed. This is ideal. This is the ideal setup for a Threadripper, because I'm actually using every single PCIe slot. Like I'm using 16 lanes to the Radeon up here, the Pro R9700. I'm using, so technically the Intel Pro B50 only uses 8 lanes of Gen 5, but this slot that it's in is capable of delivering 16 Gen 5 lanes. So this is going to be replaced by this ASRock Creator. So let me go ahead and undo this. It's been a while since I did a build video. So we're going to go ahead and take out the 12-volt high power cable. There it is, the infamous 12-volt high-power cable. This one is the same on both ends. It goes straight into the Superflower power supply that we are going to replace with this new power supply from ASRock. Because the new power supply has 2 of these native cables, whereas this Superflower only has 1. And I need 2 of them because I'm going to run 2 of the graphics cards that uses. And it also allows me to upgrade if I want to run dual NVIDIA cards, for example. Like if I want to run a 5090 and a 4090 together, I would need that higher end power supply. Okay. I did not think this through. So now I have to stick this down in there to try to get this GPU out. There we go. Alright, so here is the Radeon AI graphics card. This is the XFX version. It has a full backplate. I like how the blower style cooler is available to pull air in from above and underneath. So there's the Radeon GPU. We'll set that over here. And then Intel Arc Pro B50. This is 16 gigabytes. This is probably the most unique graphics card that has come out this year. So here it is, guys, the tiny little Intel Arc Pro B50. 16 gigabytes of VRAM on a GPU that does not have a power connector at all. This thing is fully powered over the motherboard's PCIe slot. This is 8 lanes of Gen 5 bandwidth. So, really small little card. I guess just to give you guys a size comparison here. You can see the Intel is so little and low profile compared to the Radeon. Professional. You know what, I guess I'll put them both like that. I guess I'll put this one like this. Okay. Now, technically I can leave this card in here. I don't actually have to remove this one. My third graphics card. This one, you guys may or may not remember this card. So this is the very first professional graphics card that I ever got. This is the Radeon Pro W7500. The cool thing about this GPU, first of all, it's single slot. It's real thin, single slot, blower style, no PCIe power connector. It is fully powered through the motherboard slot. So I actually prefer single slot for low power like this over a dual slot like the Intel right here. I wish the Intel was a single slot, but at least the Intel is a low profile, so it doesn't actually impede a lot of airflow from the GPU above it. So it doesn't guard airflow or prevent airflow. This card is, I think, more versatile because it's single slot. The one thing I wish this card was different about, or I guess the one thing I would say about this card, I wish this card was 16 or 12 gigabytes of VRAM. It is a professional GPU, but it is probably the cheapest professional GPU from AMD or NVIDIA for that matter, because this one has 8 gigabytes of VRAM on a professional form factor. So this is 8 gigabytes versus 16 gigabytes on the Intel. So because the Intel has 16 and it's newer, this is RDNA 3. But you guys can see this is a professional workstation computer because all 3 of these graphics cards are Pro Series graphics cards. We're not using any sort of gamer GPU in here. All right. Next, moving along here. I'm not sure if I even need to take this out, but I guess we'll do it for now. So next we have this card, which you guys may or may not remember me talking about. So here's the 6-pin. I gotta take the 6-pin out. So this is the USB 4 PCIe Gen 4 add-in card from ASUS. So this effectively allows me to run Thunderbolt 4 or Thunderbolt 5 or 3 peripherals to my Threadripper PC with full compatibility. It also obviously USB 4, so I have USB 4 access here on the back. You can see it has the DisplayPort inputs right here, and it has the USB-C form factor for the output. So this is what allows me to, for example, connect a external capture card that's Thunderbolt 4, and I can live stream PlayStation 5 Pro, for example, or Nintendo Switch 2. So that's why this is in here. You could also connect docking stations to this that are USB 4 or Thunderbolt 5. They'll work totally fine. So, but yeah, I'm just going to set this. Actually, I may need to take this out completely. Yeah, I'll probably just reconnect this later. So, if I want to run Intel's GPU with the 2 Radeons, I got to take this out. And I don't like not having access to USB 4. So I may want to keep this in at some point or put it back in. But that'll prevent me from running a third graphics card that's dual slot. That is the reason why the single slot design is actually preferred. All right, and then I guess I'll take the last card out. But you guys can see why Threadripper is actually very good for a power user because of all the PCIe. So this, does anybody know what this is? It looks like a graphics card. It's single slot. Do you know what this is? ASUS. There's the ASUS. There's the blower style fan. You guys know what this is? Who knows what this is? Anybody? Anybody want to take a guess at what this is? This is 16 lanes. 16 lanes of PCIe. Madison got it. Asus M.2. Yes, SSD. Fake Frames got it. SSD expansion card. So I have 4 NVMe drives in here. So Asus has 2 versions of this. You can get a Gen 4. So this is the Hyper M.2 Gen 4. So I have a PCIe Gen 4 card. There is a newer one of these, which is Gen 5, which you can get. The difference is the Gen 5 one I think is black. This one, the Gen 4 one that I have, is silver. So I have Gen 4. Gen 5 is basically going to look almost the same. The difference, so I don't actually need Gen 5 because the bottom slot on the Threadripper motherboard is 16 lanes of Gen 4. So I only would benefit from Gen 4 SSDs in the first place. So this is a perfect choice for the final slot on the Threadripper motherboard. So I'm going to go ahead and put this over here, or maybe over here. Alright. So you can see right here, let me turn the light on again. And let me bring this camera in. 16 lanes of Gen 5, 16 lanes of Gen 5, 8 lanes of Gen 5, 4 lanes of Gen 4, and 16 lanes of Gen 4. So 16, 16, that's 32 lanes of Gen 5, plus 8 more, so that is 40, what is that, 40 lanes of Gen 5, then 16 plus 4, 20 lanes of Gen 4. Then we have 1, 2, 3 Gen 5 SSDs. And we have down here, which I'm not actually using, Slim SAS for 4 more lanes of Gen 4. So that's an awful lot of lanes. Now that I think about it, I could run 4 M.2s. Currently, I'm running 1, 2, 3 M.2s, and then I have 4 more M.2s on that expansion card. So that's a total of 7 SSDs, M.2s. If I want to add an 8th SSD, I can plug it into the Slim SAS for another SSD. So I can run 8 SSDs on this Threadripper board while still plugging in multiple graphics cards. This is the benefit of using Threadripper. You buy into this platform because you need the lanes. You don't care about gaming. This is not about gaming, guys. This is about getting access to the expandability. And Threadripper provides that. So here's the RDIMM. There's the Silverstone. Basically, I need to disconnect all the power cables because I'm doing a power supply swap. So that's what we're going to do now. This motherboard supports active cooling right here for the VRM. So it has 2 fans right here. And then it actually supports dual power supplies. Now, I'm not going to run like 4 5090s or whatever, so I don't actually need the second power supply. Now that I think about it, though, I could technically like keep this one and add the second one. But the problem is I don't have a case. This case doesn't support dual power supplies, so I'm not going to keep this power supply in here. The nice about this Asus board, I guess maybe I need to find a better camera angle because this is not really, man, this is not, how should I do this? Is that better? Actually, well, the problem is the Silverstone AIO is in the way. What I'm trying to show you guys is right here. Maybe that's a better angle. You guys can see, yeah, that's a better angle. So right here, these two PCIe connectors. This is a PCIe 6-pin from the power supply, and then we have an 8-pin as well from the power supply. These are standard 8-pin or 6 and 8-pin PCIe power cables. This adds supplemental power to the motherboard because we're running so many graphics cards. Especially when I'm running 2 graphics cards, like that Intel B50 and that other AMD card. Neither one of them have their own PCI power. So you're going to want to make sure that the motherboard has extra auxiliary power to stabilize the voltage. Otherwise, what's going to happen if you don't plug these in, these are optional. If you don't plug these in and you have all those GPUs, that's going to it's gonna like overburden the 24 pin up here to supply power to all that stuff. So this basically helps load balance the power over the multi-rails through the motherboard. Alright, so just making sure that I've got all the power connections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing down here. Okay, so that's all of my power connectors that go to the motherboard. So now what I'll do, I'll just disconnect them from here, I guess. I don't know if it's better for me to do this or just pull the power supply out and just pull them with this. I didn't really think this through ahead of time. I just was like, well, we gotta swap this out for AI because everybody's telling me you gotta build for AI, man. You gotta build for AI. NVIDIA's saying go AI. I'm like, okay, NVIDIA, I'm going as fast as I can. I'm using your competitors' products, but okay, we'll just do it anyway. So, alright, here we go. AI. Everyone's all in on AI, apparently. Look at this big wad of cables. Yeah, maybe I should have taken this out first, but okay. Alright, let's get this power supply unhinged. How many M.2s do you run in the Godlike? I am running 4. 4 in the Godlike. I could run a 5th one, but I want to use. But the thing is, if I run the 5th one, then I won't be able to use the X4 slot at the very bottom. Well, actually, I could. Well, it does bandwidth sharing, but sometimes the Godlike is buggy. Where like if you have an if you have a 5th SSD and you have something plugged in on the X4 slot, sometimes the X4 slot device does not initialize when you wake it from sleep. So that's why I only run 4 SSDs. That's the problem, guys, with mainstream platforms. Mainstream platforms have too many like limitations with bandwidth sharing, lane limitations, this, that. Oh, you want to do this? Okay, then you can't do that. Or you want to do that? Okay, now this doesn't work as well. I mean, that's the only problem with like regular mainstream platforms. Whereas with Threadripper, if I want to plug in 8 SSDs and have like 3 or 4 graphics cards, I can do that. And nothing's going to stop me, and I know it's going to work. 100% stability, you know, like, I don't have to think about it. It works. It just works. That's why Threadripper is for professionals, though. Because professionals, they ain't got time for that. You know, like, You gotta buy something, and it's just gonna work. Alright, what is this? Oh, the last cable that's stuck is the very high power. It didn't melt, did it? Did this cable melt? It's like stuck in there. Okay, no, mine didn't melt, but it was super hard to get out. I was a little worried that my 12 volt melted on the power supply side, but no, it came out. It looks normal. Yeah, it looks normal. It was just like really snug in there. All right. Well, there's 12 volt high power, the infamous cable that I really wish these professional cards did not use this thing. You can see the pins on mine are still all really good on both sides. This one was the power supply side right here. I don't know, the camera won't really focus. There we go. That's a good shot. And then there. Pristine, clean cables. No defects, no issues. Alright, I don't want to keep this exposed to the open air because the problem with these, if dust builds up on the contacts, when you power this up and it heats up, the dust will incinerate and become a carbon deposit that covers up and insulates the wire or the contact, and that can lead to the melting. Just FYI. That's kind of like secret knowledge that no one ever talks about. Anyway, so you don't want these to be exposed to the open air for an extended period of time. Just pro tip, if you want to avoid melted 12 volt power connectors. So I want to put these in like a bag or something. You know what? I'm just going to put them inside the GPU box. I'm going to put them inside the ASRock GPU box. So here's the ASRock Creator that we unboxed and on the camera and then put it back in the box. So there's that. The ASRock Professional GPU comes with a triple 8-pin to 12-volt high power. So that's really good. I'm not going to use it, so whatever. It's good to have that, though, than to not have it. I don't like that the XFX does not include one. When I saw the XFX didn't have the 12-volt adapter, I was like, man, that's lame. But I'm not going to use it, so whatever. All right. Okay, now I just need to get these out of here. So this is PCIe. Gonna have to turn this up right side up to get the other cables out. So these all belong to. Remember, never mix old power cables with new power cables, especially when you're crossing different brands of power supplies. So I'm not going to open my new power supply box until I have all these cables out of the way. That's another pro tip. Okay. Hey, Lordy, or I don't know how to say your name. Thanks for becoming a member. Oh, wow, Francisco sent 5 memberships. Wait a minute, whoa. You made Marcelo a member. It's like Marcelo won the golden ticket or something. You want to see what he does when he get the what? Hold on. All right, I'm gonna get this big 24 pin out of the way. You know, I don't think I'm gonna deviate from using this case for a long time. This Asus case is really fantastic. I really like this case. This is my favorite case. The Pro Art. It is a really good case for Threadripper. It's a full tower. I mean, it's a full tower. It's not like super tall, but it has all the 8 slots on the back, so you can literally use every single PCIe slot. Even the one at the very bottom. Oh, I gotta unplug the SATA power cables from the hard drives. I've got like 2 hard drives in here. Alright, there's one more. There's the one that's way over in the corner. That's always a pain to get out of the case or get in because of the angle. Alright. Is that all? I think that's all. Okay. That's every power cable. Alright, so all of these power cables need to come with me. I'm gonna put them over here where they're way out of the way, so I'm not gonna mix them up with the new power supply. Okay, now we can take a look at this new power supply from ASRock. Okay. Alright, it comes in this very fancy box that's all sparkly. It's got like the glittery, sparkly, metallic. It's like, this is like metallic paint on a car. It's really weird to describe. Do you guys see that on the camera? It's like all glittery, sparkly. It's like you don't really see it until you look at it under the light, and then you can see all the metallic paint like particles shimmering. I've never seen a power supply box do that before. So I was like, whoa, this thing, was that me hallucinating? Or like, what is this? Alright, so it's got like all this weird metallic sparkling going on. So this is the ASRock TC 1650T. It is one of the most highest rated from Hardware Busters. For those that don't know, Hardware Busters is the power supply reviewer that does the Cybernetics Awards right here. So these are the Cybernetic Awards. So this is a really nice power supply. According to Cybernetics, it's A+, and it's Cybernetics Titanium. And it is also 80+ titanium. 80+ titanium is the highest rating of efficiency that a power supply can be given. So for those that don't know, it goes from nothing to 80+, then 80+ bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and titanium. So this is the highest level. There's nothing higher than titanium. All right. Let me see here. On the back, it says fully modular cabling with individual braided pattern. We'll look at it in the box, but you always want to verify on the back. I like that ASRock shows you what exactly you expect to get in the box. That way, if something is missing from the factory, you'll know immediately. It actually comes with a handle. I just now noticed that there's a handle. There's a handle for the power supply box, because this is actually quite heavy. Alright, so it opens like this. Alright, I guess I'll stand up. So here we go. Just to show the viewers. So you have a bag. This is very typical. So it has the heavy duty. It's got the heavy duty face. I call it the heavy duty. I think this is a C20 plug. 15 amp, 125 volt. King cord. This is a king cord. Look at that. It's got the heavy duty face. Look at that. This means business. This means business. This is the heavy. Look how thick this wire is. That's the thick wire. This is heavy. This is a heavy power cable. All right. So in here, what is this? I guess these are cable ties. Yeah, these are zip ties, and then it has Velcro. It has some ASRock Velcro ones. There's like a stack of them here. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 6 of them. 6 Velcro ties. I prefer Velcro ties over the ones that you have to cut. It has, what is this? Is this an adapter? Oh, detection tool. ASRock detection tool. ASRock detection tool. For the 24 pin. I don't even know, like, how do you even use this? I've never seen this before. It does come with these things for individually sleeving the cables to make it better cable managed. I really don't know what this is. And if anyone knows what this detector is for, the detection tool with a 24 pin, I don't know what this is, guys. I really don't know what that's for. So if somebody knows what that's for, let me know. Because I'm pretty sure there's other viewers that have no idea what this is for. Okay, and then we got all the cables in here. And then the power supply. Hold on, let me see if there's anything like underneath this. I don't think there is, but... No. Okay, so it's just that. This is like really stuck in here. There we go. You put it on the 24 pin and it turns the PSU on. It's a jumper, so you can run your liquid loop pump to leak test without... Really? Oh, is that why it says detection tool? Like leak detection? Is that what they mean? Man, this thing's heavy. It has one of these do not eat, throw away. This thing, whatever this is. This is actually, if you have small kids, you obviously don't want to keep this, or if you have pets like dogs, you don't want to keep this. But you know what I've found, guys? This stuff is really good at preventing like mold. Like if you have a shed or something, and you want like spiders or just pests or whatever to stay away, you put this in the shed and mold doesn't grow, like nothing grows because it dries everything out. This is actually quite good. It says to throw it away, but you know, this is actually like really good anti-mold stuff because it like dries everything up. Okay, so the unit looks pretty cool overall, the power supply. It is surprisingly small for how heavy it is, which means it has a lot of daughter boards inside that are vertically mounted for more optimal space placement. But this is a very heavy power supply, but it's so small. This is a 1,650 watt power supply. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Maximum... Total output power, 1 maximum 1650 watt, 2 maximum 1300 watt. So, okay, the 12 volt can do 1650, and then there's like these other numbers. So I'm not sure, like, what does that 1300 mean? But the reason why I need something like this is this right here. It has dual native 12 volt high power, and it also has these weird temperature sensors. So if the cable's going bad, I don't know what it does, but I assume it shuts off the computer or something. I don't think ASRock has any software to alert the user that your cable is about to cause a fire or something. So it probably just shuts down the computer. It probably triggers overcurrent protection and shuts off if it detects that your 12 volt is malfunctioning. That's what these two, you guys can see there's like two of them right there. Or yeah, right there. See, dual 12 volts. This is officially the highest end power supply that I've ever had, because I've never had a power supply that has exceeded over 1,300 watts. So now this is a 1650 watt. 1650 watt. Oh, these are nice. These are like braided, but they're not the cloth braid like on MSI. These are like rubberized, textured, so it's almost like fake braided cables. I don't know, I don't know if the camera can show that texture, but it looks like braided cable, but it's actually rubber or like it's not actual braid. It's not cloth, is what I'm saying. It's like a really weird rubbery material. This is the CPU EPS. We got EPS 12. All right, I'm just gonna organize them. So the unit's there. So you got SATA, infamous 12 volt high power right there. There's one of them. PCIe, so we got 12 volt. We got 12 volt over here. How should I do this? 12 volt. This is CPU. This is GPU, 8-pin. The other CPU, so this is EPS. You know, I'm gonna put the PCIe here, EPS here, SATA like in the back. PCIe, SATA, SATA, infamous 12 volt, second 12 volt. So there's the two 12 volts. SATA, that's 4 SATA, wow. PCIe, the third one. PCIe, the fourth one. These look like they don't do the daisy chain. Or do they? No. Yeah, these don't do the daisy chain. You know how like you can get like an 8-pin that dangles another 8-pin off of it? This doesn't do that. Another PCIe. That's what, 5 PCIe? 6 PCIe? Old school Molex. That can come in handy if you have an old case. Another old school Molex. The big fat 24 pin. That's the thick one, the 24. I think that's all of them. Okay, so interesting. So it only has, which is fine. It has two EPS. So let me make sure it got everything. So close this up. All right, so it has 1 24 pin, 2 CPU, two of these, the bad cables, 4. Wait, 4. Wait, 4? Why do I have 6? Oh, I've got... Okay, it does have the daisy chain. It has 2 daisy chain. They call them dual. 1, 2. Here's the dual. Okay, so 4 singular 8-pin and 2 daisy chain dual 8-pin. So that's 6. So wait, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 PCIe 8-pins. That's a lot. And then 2 PATA. They call it PATA. I call them Molex. 2 of those, and then 4 SATA. So yeah, every cable is accounted for. Nothing's missing. You always want to double check. As long as you're within the return period. Okay, so let's start installing this, I guess. When you have 17 fans, pulls a pump in your system, Molex plugs come in handy. Oh yeah. Yeah, actually, so on the Molex here, we've got, there's 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So you can do 6 Molex off of these 2, 3 per cable. Okay, I'm just gonna move, let me see here. Gonna get this. So the LED-X, just to do a side-by-side comparison here, for those curious. So this is what I was using before. So I was using the LED-X 3 Superflower 1300 watt. So this one had right here. You can see it has the 12 volt. And then if I guess they have a higher end version of this, which would have had 2 of them. You can see this and this. If you live near a micro center, man, this power supply has always been the best deal for like a good year and a half. Micro Center has these for like $150. 1300 watt Superflower with 12 volt for $150 is a really good deal, considering the brand. That's like one of the best deals. Oh, completely forgot to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison in terms of the size. So I can already tell the ASRock is way heavier. it's also larger. You can see it's physically, if we put them, like if I put them like this, so here they are. You can see how much longer the Tai Chi from ASRock is. It looks like it's a whole inch and a quarter or inch and a half longer than the Superflower LED X3. Yeah, this one does feel substantially big in terms of how heavy it is. But the Superflower is still very good. The Superflower is still a very good brand. I just needed something with dual 12-volt high power. Alright, I'm only gonna need, I think, 1 or 2 SATA. I'm not going to need the Molex. I'm gonna need both of these. So I'll just put these, I guess, here for now, and then set these over here. Okay. I don't even know if I have enough room, like, to lay the case on its side again, because there's just too much stuff here. Well, I guess I don't need to. This is significantly lighter when there's nothing in it, except the motherboard and 2 hard drives. I don't know what I was trying to do. I was trying to see if I could get a good angle for the power supply, but I guess not. Yeah, there's no like tape or anything on this. If I put this in with the fan facing up, will that work? Let's see. Curious to know if I can actually do that. Huh. So that's cool. The ASRock power supply, wait a minute, so the Superflower couldn't do that? Hold on a second. So the ASRock, yeah, the Superflower could only go in one way. Yeah, the Superflower doesn't have the holes if you want to mount the fan upward. So the Superflower was stuck with the fan facing down. I actually prefer the fan facing up. I might actually do that. I might actually put the fan facing up. You know why I like this? I like the fan being up because this way I can put my computer on a carpeted floor and I don't have to worry about the power supply. Although ideally if it's down, you get better airflow for the power supply because it'll pull in cold air from the floor. But I don't know. I kind of want to run it with the power supply facing up instead of down. Or like the fan, I want the fan up. Let me see. So if I put it down, that's going to be like this. The nice thing about the ProArt case is that it's so big. It's high enough off the ground that it's not an issue. But I kind of want the fan up. I prefer that style. So I might actually just do that. I might put it up. My 12 volts will be toward the glass as well, so it's easier to monitor when the fan is up. You know what's weird is it looks like regardless of how I put the power supply in, it's always, I could do like, what, 2, 4, 6, 8 screws. I can literally put like all the screws. Oh man, this is like super out of focus. That camera is like way out of focus. There's a switch on the back for silent cool. Yeah, I know. I actually want it to be not silent. It's the default is off. I'm going to turn it to on. I don't like silent mode. So we're going to leave that on to verify that the fan works and spins when I first turn it on. That's the other reason why I like the fan facing up, so I can actually see the fan visually and verify that it's working correctly. See, I guess the difference between me and like the average gamer is I'm thinking about things from a commercial, industrial standpoint. So it needs to be heavy duty, it needs to be reliable, and I need to know that it's working. Especially when it's brand new, because I need to make sure that if there's something defective, I can return it for an exchange within the return window. On turns silent mode on, off makes the fan run. Oh wait, off makes it run? Oh, the default was off. So I guess I need to leave it on off? I guess I'll leave it on off then? It always... So that's a great question, Francisco. The fans on power supplies always push air down onto the circuit elements. So it always sucks air in. So for those that are wondering, this is standard for every power supply. No power supply deviates from this. Basically, the airflow is like this. It sucks the air in through here, and it exhausts it out the back. So the air goes in and out. Where the power cable goes, that's the exhaust. So you never want to cover up the back of the power supply where your power cable is, because this is the exhaust. Air goes in through the fan and out through the back. That is the airflow on every ATX power supply. That is standard design. That is the correct way that it's supposed to function. Okay, so I think I'm just going to put it with the fan up. I want the fan up. Because from a practical standpoint, even if the fan's not spinning, with the fan above the unit, hot air will rise naturally. The reason why I don't like power supplies with the fans facing down is because it's harder for the heat to dissipate, because the heat wants to go up, but if you have the fan down at the bottom and the circuit elements at the top, now you have the heat like trapped and trying to radiate around where the circuitry is. So for longevity, I think that it's better to always have the fan mounted up, not down. Most pre-builds will follow this design. They will have the fan up in the case, so they don't have to worry about the customer sticking their case on like a super heavy, thick carpeted floor with all kinds of like cat dander or dog fur or whatever, and the fan is constantly like the filter. Even though I've got a filter back here, they like a pre-build doesn't want to deal with that. So a pre-build wants to always put the fan inside so that it is independent of like whatever the customer's got going on, like on the floor or whatever. Okay. Okay, so now I guess what do you guys think? Should I screw this in, or should I connect some of the power cables first and then install it? Should I plug cables in before mounting it to the case? How do you guys normally do it? I think either way it'll work. I think it's easier to put some of the cables that are going to be over here on this back side. I think it's easier to plug them in before you put it in. So I always start off with a 24 pin. I always plug this one in first. I don't know why ASRock has it like this, but the power supply is going to have it go backwards. So that is kind of that's kind of janky. See what I mean? If this camera will focus. It crosses over like that. I don't know why they did it that way. But oh well. Okay. Yeah. The 12 volt, with the fan up, it'll be easy to get to the 12 volt. Otherwise, if the fan is facing down, the 12 volt will be on the back side over here. So actually, I am going to put it with the fan up. So I'll probably just put it in like this. And then run the 24 pin out the back over here. We'll go in from here. I want to make sure that I'm putting it in the cable management ties and not in the way of like other cables that are back here, like the USB 3.0 for example. Probably want to put this underneath that. There we go. All right. I'm going to put this like this. And that one's already there. Okay. Okay, the 24 pin is in. There's the click. It's in. I guess I should just screw this down. Wow, Francisco with the gifted memberships. Appreciate it. I don't know which one. I guess I should put this here. Guess I'll put this one here. I really like that the ASRock power supply lets you choose whichever. It literally gives me eight screws to choose from. In any orientation, I could put this fan up, fan down, doesn't matter. I really like that about this unit. This is the only power supply that I have that lets me do that. It's almost like maybe I need to put like all 8 screws in because it's 1650 watts max load. Maybe it wants those extra ground connections. Could that be why it's doing that? Does it come with extra screw? Oh yeah, it does. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm going to wire up all the grounds. Yeah, see, it has 4 screws right here. So I put my case ones in. I'm going to put these in too. I'm going to put all 8 screws in there. Because why not? Extra ground. Yeah, we're going to have 8 screws on this power supply. Bolting it to the back of the case. This is all for the AI stuff. Everyone's like, everyone needs to be getting on AI. It's like, you don't want to be left behind. Get in on AI while you can. Okay. We'll just do all this AI stuff. Because NVIDIA said so. Why am I doing this? Because NVIDIA said so. If you guys listen to the keynote at GTC, Jensen was saying, like, everyone needs to be in on AI. Otherwise, you'll miss out. So get in on this. I'm like, okay. Okay, man, I'll do it. We're just going to have to do more threadripper upgrades. But we'll do it, okay. Alright, so... Oh, now I want to run the PCIe to the motherboard. Oh no, I'll do the CPU first. EPS 12 volt. Yeah, EPS 12 volt. Because these are kind of annoying to run because they go all the way up to the top of the motherboard. Alright, so what I'll do, I'll turn it this way. And I'll run it this way. I'll plug it in over here. I like how it's clearly labeled CPU. But I think most power supplies are like that. Alright, this one. Let's see. Why is this like crossed over? Okay. I think it comes in through here. Yeah, or actually I can make it come through over here. I don't know which one will look like a cleaner build, but I guess maybe I'll just run it over here. No, I should run it through the top. I think it'll look cleaner going through the top. Even though it's more annoying to feed it through here. Alright, that EPS cable is in. It's not touching the VRM heatsink, it's not touching the fan for the AIO. It's not touching anything. Okay, that's good. And it's in all the way. Alright, next one. The EPS cables are so nice. No, yeah, these cables are really smooth. You're right, yeah. So do you have this power supply? What RAM configuration do you have in the Godlike? 424 sticks running at 6400. 96 gigabytes total. Single rank DIMMs. If you want to run fast, you're single rank DIMMs. Or you're only going to be on 2 sticks. Man, these go in really smoothly. There we go. Man, that was easy. That was the easiest, like, EPS cable in the top corner that I've ever done. That was so smooth. Normally, I have to lay the case on its side to get at that, but I didn't have to do that because this one goes in so easily. Alright, I'm going to do the SATA for the hard drives, and then we'll do the GPUs last. Memory is going through the roof. Remember, guys, I told you to upgrade memory last year. I told you to upgrade last year. Last holiday was the best time to do it. What is this thing? There's like a 5 volt something. What is that? It's like boot on or something. I don't know what that is. There's like a switch on the power supply. I never even noticed. 5 volt boost. 5 volt boost. The default is on. Do I need that? I don't know what that is. There's like a 5 volt boost. There's like a 5 volt boost on the front of the, like where the cables go. Is that for SATA? know what that's for, but okay. Alright, the hard drives are powered. Tuck that in. Alright, so we got SATA power to the hard drives. Apparently I have 2 3.5-inch drives in here. And then now the motherboard PCIe. So for the motherboard PCIe, I'm going to do... how should I do this? You know what, guys? I could do the daisy chain plug for the motherboard. I could run one of these daisy chain to both of these. There's an 8-pin and a 6-pin. Let me show this here. Right in here. 6-pin, 8-pin. How would you guys do this? Would you run 2 individual PCIe cables, or would you run the dual that has the daisy chain? What do you guys think? I don't think this will take that much power though. So I feel like I could run the dual, the one that has the dual 8-pin on one cable. You know how it has the pigtail? I'm thinking run the pigtail one here and run the native one here. So I don't have to use 2 separate PCIe just for the motherboard. What do you guys think? How would you guys do that? It makes the 5-volt run at 5.15. Should I even bother doing that? I don't know if I want to do that. The default for that is on. I think I'm going to turn that off. I don't think I need that. Since you're only running 2 GPUs, you wouldn't worry about running separate cables. That's what I'm thinking. I think I should just use the dual. This one. That way, less cable clutter. See what I mean? It has the dual. It has the thing that does like this. You know what I mean? 8-pin off of a single connector that goes to the power supply. Now, okay, the hardest thing is gonna be like getting actually at this. I'm gonna have to move this. Okay, I can put this one all the way at the bottom, or I can put it like here. Probably put it here. Supplemental power on that motherboard is really designed for if you're running 3-4 GPUs. Well, I'm gonna run both. I'm gonna daisy chain it. One of them is, I think the 6-pin is for power delivery to the front panel USB-C 20 gigabit. There. That was easy. Man, these are really nice connectors. These are smooth. There. I'm running the daisy chain. See? Right there. This one goes in direct, then I hang the other one off of this one. So I'm only using one cable on the power supply side for 2 of them. Okay. That's everything except the GPUs. So now we got to put the GPUs in. So for this, let me just do some cable management here. Get these SATA cables out of the way. I don't even know how they got this messed up. Okay. All right. Okay, so now this is what we're working with. Put it over here so you can see the GPUs. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 graphics cards in the 2 Gen 5 X16 at the top. So we're gonna put the XFX in the second one. And the reason why we're going to put the XFX in the second one is for aesthetic reasons. So I should probably explain that. So the power color, I'm not the power color, the ASRock a couple things I noticed. They're both reference. ASRock claims they're using PTM 7950. They're using that PTM pad on this one. I don't know if I assume XFX is doing the same thing, but I could be wrong. But from what I can tell, functionally, these are the same. They're both AMD reference graphics cards. Hold on, let me get all this plastic off. Normally there's a pull tab somewhere to get all this plastic off of this thing. At least the XFX one said pull here to remove before using, but where is this one? This one's like... This one's stuck on here good. Oh, this one tears into a million pieces. Fantastic. Yeah, that's real nice. Okay. Okay, oh no, there's more. Okay. Okay. Oh wait, one more. The one on the fan. Okay. So this is it. This is it. So the ASRock one has the PTM 7950. The main difference, I like the front of the XFX more. I like that chrome with the AMD Radeon logo. But the XFX one has a very bland back. The back plate is just pure stock. Nothing. So I'm going to put the XFX in the second slot because I like the top of it better, so that one can be visible. So we're going to put that one here. Oh, no wonder this thing's in the way. Okay, so XFX is going to go in the second slot. ASRock is the complete opposite of XFX. It has a more kind of boring, understated front side, but it has a really nice back plate. This one has a really nice back plate. You can see there. It's got the Radeon AI logo there. So this one's going to go on the top. This one's going to go in the top slot. Don't forget to remove this and the back. There's 4 DisplayPort 2.1. Wow, these are like so close together. Yeah, they look the same dimension-wise. They're the same. But now that I look at it, the shrouds are machine finished differently. So ASRock is using a custom design. It looks like XFX is following AMD's reference spec exactly. ASRock has deviated from the spec, but ASRock claims they're using a vapor chamber and they're using PTM 7950. Nowhere on XFX's box does it say that they're doing that. And what I can tell you from testing XFX, XFX is very, very loud if playing games. Like, it's too loud to play games with normal noise levels unless you power limit or custom fan profile. But if you custom fan profile, your memory and your hotspot are going to run like over 90 degrees on the XFX. So you're going to have to power limit it to like negative 25%. Drop it to like 225 watts or something. Then it becomes more manageable. Then we're talking like 2400 RPM. Otherwise, this thing can get up to like 4000 RPMs. It is so annoyingly loud. I do not recommend it for gaming, at least the XFX one. I will test the Power Color one to see if that one's any different. I don't expect it to be different, but they're claiming PTM 7950 whatever, so maybe it's better. But we'll have to find out. Alright, the nice thing about this case from ASUS automatically like fits in here. So it takes care of both GPUs. It secures both GPUs, except the second one needs one screw. And I can see there is a tiny little gap between both of them. Alright, that's dual GPUs. Okay, next. The RAID card. Well, I can put the Intel GPU in. It's an X8 Gen 5 slot, which is perfect for the Intel. So I can put my Intel in, but then I can't, if I do that, I can't use my USB 4. So for now, we're not going to use Intel. We're going to keep the Intel out because I want to test ROCm. And the problem with having Intel in here is if you run LM Studio and you have multi-vendor GPUs detected, like if you have Radeon and Arc or GeForce and Radeon or whatever, it will not allow you to run ROCm. Likewise, it will not allow you to run CUDA. So you'll be limited to running Vulkan on the back end if you have multi-vendor GPUs. So I want to test ROCm, so I'm not going to install the Intel Arc B50. We're going to leave that out, which means my X8 slot is going to be empty for now. So we're going to put the USB 4 back in where it was in the X4 slot, which is designated for the Thunderbolt, aka USB 4. So we're going to plug this guy back in. There we go. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to plug the cables in. He needs a PCIe cable. This thing has an optional 6-pin for power delivery, for charging up to 60-watt charging over the USB 4 ports. So I do want to be able to use that. So for this one, we're going to use the single PCIe. Not the daisy chain. The real challenge is, can I actually reach down here? I'm going to have to unplug the 24 pin to be able to plug this in all the way at the bottom. Okay, now I need to plug in the Thunderbolt cable. So we have the USB. And then we need to plug in the Asus's proprietary Thunderbolt control plane header cable. So this one is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 pins. It's a 14 minus 1, so it's a 13 pin. It only goes in one way. So you gotta look for the missing pin. That is the Thunderbolt cable. So now we have USB 4. Okay. That's for the PlayStation 5 Pro or the Switch 2. Or if I had an Xbox, it would also be for the Xbox. So this is basically the game console card. So we got 2 graphics cards, the game console card, and now we're going to put the RAID card for the 4 M.2s. Okay, and then this is going to be very tall. Wait, not that. Oh, you know what? I could put the Radeon Pro W7500 back in, but I don't want to do this because for some reason, this card, the weird thing is Windows installed a different driver for this. So somehow, when I installed the XFX R9700, on Monday, I stepped away from the computer, I didn't install any drivers, and Windows, in all of its infinite wisdom, decided to install a completely different driver from September for the Radeon R97, for the AI GPU, while keeping my W7500 on an older driver, the Radeon Professional driver from Q2 of this year, from like April. It was bizarre, because I was like, man, hold on. I've got Intel drivers installed, I've got AMD Professional drivers installed, and I've got some questionable Windows AMD driver installed for the new GPU. How do I have 2 AMD drivers running at the same time? I have no idea, but somehow it was working, and LM Studio was working with it. So I was like, man, okay, I can put this back in, but for testing, I'm going to leave this out so I can run the full driver stack for Rock'em with these dual AI GPUs. So we're only going to install the Asus RAID card, the Hyper M.2, down at the very bottom because this needs 16 lanes, bifurcated into 4444. I could put a graphics card. If I take this RAID card out, I can put a 2-slot GPU like the Intel B50. I could run this at the very bottom of this motherboard, and it will work. But for now, we're just going to leave it like this. Mainly because I need those drives, because I've got directories for LM Studio on one of the SSDs on this Hyper M.2 card. So I kind of have to use the Hyper M.2, unless I migrate it to the Slim SAS, which I might actually do. I'm thinking of running 4 GPUs in here, guys. I'm really considering 4 GPUs. I can do, if I take out the USB 4, I could put Intel as the 3rd GPU, and I could put like a 3080 Ti or something 2-slot at the very bottom on a 16-lane Gen 4. Okay, so I gotta route these cables so they're not like all over the place, and that looks good. Now I gotta run the 12-volt high powers. All right, here we go. This is the last step. Gotta run the infamous cables and not mess it up. Azrak has these green colored. They have green. Oh, this has the thing. this extra temperature sense wire thing, or whatever this does, that goes to the power supply side. So this side goes to the GPU. Ooh, this is going to be a really weird bend because the hard drive cage is like literally right up here. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do this without too much of a bend on that. Alright, that's in. And how do which way does this go? I got the little temperature thing in, and I've got the cable in on the power supply side. Now we're going to plug it in over here. We'll put this one on the top. That went in super smooth, and it looks like it's in good. Second one. Alright, that's in. And the little temperature wire thing is in. So we're good. We're good on that side, and now the GPU. Second 12 volt. High power. Alright, that's in. Okay, all the cables are in. Okay. I'm looking for the green. I'm making sure there's no green sticking out. Okay. The 24 pin was a little bit sticking out. Okay. All right. It looks like everything's good. This is a way heavier now that I put all this stuff in. Oh man, this is heavy. Okay. This does have wheels, so it does help. All right. There we go. So you can see the infamous cables right here. Dual Radeon Pro right next to each other. We have the USB 4, and then we have the Hyper M.2 down here. We have an open X8 slot in there. Nothing's in there. I'll probably put the Radeon Pro in there at some point, or put the Intel at the very bottom. Take out 2 drives, put one in the Slim SAS, and run the Hyper M.2 in the X8. Now it's time to, the moment of truth, time to verify everything works. And the thing about this power supply, this is the only power supply I have that requires this power plug. So I must never lose this power cable. Not that it's going to be going anywhere, but here, hold on. gonna plug in the this old monitor doesn't have a display port, so I gotta use a display port to HDMI. Alright, so ASRock is the top one, so we're gonna test the ASRock, so we're gonna plug it into the ASRock. Is this on? Oh, it's not even plugged in. There we go. Okay. Alright, it's on. Memory training, it has the amber light. The postcode debug is the red stuff. You guys can't see it because of the camera angle. Alright. We got lights on there. We have lights there. Oh, what happened? Oh, it's doing the second thing? Okay. All these zip ties or twisty ties. Really? You've got a lot of computer stuff this year? You'll lose weight walking to the kitchen because of the RF frequency. Alright, there's the light. And we're in. We're in the BIOS. I went to the BIOS. I didn't want to go all the way to the OS. So there we go. We have a video signal from the ASRock GPU. I want to verify one thing. I want to look again at the fan spinning. The second GPU fan is spinning. I can feel it. The ASRock power supply fan is spinning. So yeah, I guess I have it on off, so that means that it is spinning. And sure enough, I can feel the cold air coming out the back of the power supply back here. And I can feel the hot air, or not hot air, but I can feel the air coming through the two GPUs. One thing I will say though, looking at this, the XFX heatsink is physically larger than the one on the ASRock. I can see the fins at the back. The ASRock doesn't go all the way. So they are actually using different cooling systems. They're not using the same cooling system. Let me see if I can show you guys that without accidentally unplugging the computer. Alright, look at this. I don't know if this is going to be able to show it. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to see it. Actually, yeah, you can see it. Look at the XFX. XFX, the heatsink fins come a lot closer to the actual vent. Whereas on the ASRock, they don't go all the way. There's like a good 2.5 inches between where the heatsink goes and this grill at the very back. Which means XFX has more metal. XFX has a bigger heatsink going across compared to ASRock. But ASRock claims on their box that they're using a vapor chamber with PTM 7950. Where's the box? Yeah, XFX says aluminum heatsink fins and hot air exhaust spreads air through sides of the GPU, but it's showing the back. That's XFX. ASRock creator says blower fan design. The blower fan design whisks large volumes of air through the heatsink and out of the chassis. The die-cast metal shroud offers lightweight, high durability, and excellent heat dissipation. The vapor chamber directly contacts the GPU to quickly transfer heat to the aluminum cooling fans. Or fins, not fans, fins. Honeywell PTM 7950. Honeywell PTM 7950 can effectively fill the gaps between the GPU and the thermal module. So who knows? Maybe because ASRock is using a vapor chamber in addition to PTM 7950, they can get away with using a smaller heatsink versus what XFX is doing. What I could tell you is XFX is terribly loud. The stock profile on XFX is terribly loud. It is so loud, I can't recommend it for gaming, but I can recommend it for AI, which is what it's supposed to be for. So I will test ASRock noise levels and report back if this one is quieter. But currently, the XFX card is terribly loud. Alright, so let me get this out so it doesn't fall over when I try to adjust it, because this camera's in the way. Oh, you guys can see, oh, that's cool, I didn't even notice this. On the RAID card, these green lights indicate if there is an SSD installed. Remember, it can fit 4 SSDs. 4 lights green means each SSD, there's 4 SSDs installed on that card. It's maxed out. Alright, let me see here. Is this a good angle? No. No. Okay, there's a better angle. There we go. There we go. I guess, oh, it's kind of crooked still. That's better. I guess that's better, sort of. No. There. Okay. That's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to... I was going to do a power supply swap, and that was it. I'm just checking AMD PBS. My USB 4 card is set correctly. And I need to check onboard devices. My final PCIe slot is set to RAID mode for bifurcation for 4444. So everything is set the way it's supposed to be. So we are good to go. We got the green light up there. Everything's good. We got power delivery over Thunderbolt or USB 4. RAID card, 7 SSDs. Let me see, does it show me in here all the drives? SRIOV was enabled. Hitachi, that's the hard drive. SATA, we've got two SATAs and 2 empties. There's 4 SATA ports, only 2 are in use. Onboard devices. Yeah, everything's good. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi 7, 10 gigabit LAN, plus the other, what is that, 2.5 or 5 gig or whatever. Alright, everything's good. So what are you guys talking about? Yeah, the video is like over an hour long. The heat sinks on the threadripper board are baller looking with all the shininess. Okay. Alright guys, well that's pretty much it. How long was I streaming this for? An hour 43. Okay. So that wasn't too bad. Like I said, I was going to upgrade this for the AI. So now Threadripper went from 2 GPUs to 3 GPUs back down to 2 GPUs. And now we don't have the Intel in here, and we don't have the Radeon W, this one. So that's not in here. And the Intel's no longer in here for now. So we're just going to run it like this. But that is going to be it for the stream. You watched the video on the 4DIMM. Well, it depends on what type of memory you're trying to run and like how much and what type of speed. Alright. Yeah, this is a Threadripper build too. Threadripper is actually really easy to build. It's really just the cost. It's just very expensive. It's a very expensive platform. But if you're somebody who wants to build like an AI pod for your home lab, there's 2 ways to do it. One is you can use an old computer, or you could use a Threadripper. This is probably the most expensive way to do an AI pod. The alternative is like a Strix Halo. And I guess if you want to go super expensive and you don't care about Windows or whatever, the NVIDIA DGX Spark is a kind of an all-in-one AI solution, but it's $4,000. So the problem is it's super expensive and it's hard to find. So my point of view on the DGX Spark is like if I was a university, you know, like, or a university student, I would try to get a DGX Spark through a school program, because I'm pretty sure they offer student discounts for the DGX Spark if you want to get it for like educational, through the educational route. We'll just leave it at that. So that's one way to get DGX Spark without having to pay full price. The other way, obviously Strix Halo, Ryzen AI Max, for those that don't know, like that is a very, very good platform for AI. It's 128 gigabytes of unified memory. That product is probably the best all-rounder product, because that's why you're seeing it in handhelds, you're seeing it in laptops, you're seeing it in tablet convertibles, in mini PCs. That is a really, really nice platform, but it's kind of expensive. However, if we're talking about Threadripper, Threadripper is going to cost you more money than Strix Halo. Strix Halo is typically, depending on where you get yours, is going to be anywhere from like $1,700. Well, if you're buying the 128 gigabyte flagship, it's typically $1,700 to like over $2,000. So I'm going to say its average price is like $2,000. So DGX is double that, $4,000. Strix Halo is $2,000. So those are like the really, really easy recommendations. Otherwise, if you want to do AI, Threadripper can be used for local AI, so you don't have to use cloud. So the nice thing about doing something like this is you are doing model inferencing. It's very easy to do. You can scale up. Remember, NVIDIA says scale up is basically adding GPUs, so that gives you the flexibility. So you can basically start with like 1 GPU, and then if you're building models or you're inferencing models that need more GPU VRAM, you can scale up. So that's the really nice thing about this platform that you can't do with those other platforms. But the other platforms start with very, very high VRAM, like 128, like 96 gigabytes of VRAM for like $2,000. So that's really, I would say, almost the better choice. However, It comes down to flexibility, because with the flexibility, you basically can do whatever you want. And that's the nice thing about this platform. Now, someone might ask, what about a standard regular desktop, you know, like a regular Intel Core or a regular AMD Ryzen? Yeah, you can do AI with that as well, but you're going to be more limited in terms of scalability because of the PCIe lanes. So, just things to keep in mind if you're someone who's looking to do AI inferencing. And yeah, that's pretty much what I would do. I would start with a desktop and scale up. Or if I'm limited on space, I would get Strix Halo, like a mini PC, like the Framework desktop, and build that out. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it. This is the AI, I'll call this the AI pod, so to speak. It's perfect for inferencing. We have 64 gigabytes of VRAM, so we can run really big models. And I can add more GPUs like this later on for even more VRAM. So anyway, guys, that was going to be it for this build video. I guess I'll answer a few more questions. That was a very fast build. Yeah, enjoy the new PSU. Time to move to Japan. Time to move to Japan. Oh, no, okay. Threadripper starting price is upwards of 4K. Not if you live near a micro center. Also, the CPU is not $2,000. No, that's incorrect. So if you live near a micro center, you can get a Threadripper system for $2,000. You can get a starter kit. Now, obviously, you're going to need more things. You're going to need a power supply. You're going to need the GPUs. So if you start including the GPUs, the power supply, all the other stuff, like the second GPU, then yeah, then it's going to be upwards of $4,000. Yes. But if you're just talking like, oh, I want to buy a Threadripper, no, it's not $4,000. The CPU's like $1,500, and the motherboard is like $600. If you're buying the Gigabyte Aero D, that's $600 board. So $600 plus $1,500 puts you at $2,100, and then you have to buy the RDIMM memory. If you live near a Micro Center, you get the RAM for free. Micro Center gives you 128 gigabytes of RDIMM for free, bundled with the CPU. So that's what I'm saying. If you live near a Micro Center, you can get a Threadripper for like $2,000. But if you don't live near a Micro Center, you don't have that luxury. So that's kind of the limitation there. You're trying to run 48 gigabyte. For that, you just need to follow the instructions in the video. Yeah, you should just use whatever I do for Gigabyte typically works on the ASRock. Because I didn't have any problems. Now, your memory kit's probably different from mine. That's probably why. But I didn't have any issues with the Taichi. The Taichi was very easy, actually. Taichi and Aorus are very easy to get 192 gigabytes running at like 6,000. Don't try 6400, though. You need to try 5600 first. For 2x CCD. What are we talking 2x CCD? I'm waiting for a description. Oh. What? I don't understand the question there. Is that a question? There are bigger parallel arrays? I don't understand what I don't understand that. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, that was it. So we will be doing... I'll be testing LM Studio. I'll be testing the DeepSeek 70 billion model, which you normally have to have like Strix Halo or RTX Pro 6000 to run. And I'm going to test a couple of other things for the language models. And then we'll also be looking at stuff like Stable Diffusion in future content, so stay tuned for that. But this platform allows me to do all of that and mess with things like the Broccam or the Vulkan backend. And maybe we'll look at like Intel at some point. We'll probably, I don't know, we'll probably like add Intel and try Vulkan scaling again. The kits you're running at G-Skill. Yeah, but you're not going to be doing... If you're doing 192, you're not going to be doing 6400. I can tell you that. Forget about 64. 6000 is the max you'll be able to get. And that doesn't matter what. That's like every motherboard. You know what I mean? Is GTR's Halloween costume the processor? The professor in Back to the Future? Oh, yeah, I guess maybe. $5,600 should work. But that's the thing about dual channel. I mean, you're only on dual channel, right? Like, see, we're doing... I'm doing 6,400 right here. That's probably not going to be able to show up on the camera. But we're running 6,400 on Threadripper. But that's because Threadripper is quad channel. Quad channel memory. That's the other thing, too, I forgot to mention. Remember, we're talking about AI. AI, you want memory bandwidth. So I know the CPU doesn't matter as much for AI, but remember that Threadripper is a quad channel memory platform. So you have the same amount of memory bandwidth, or you have the same kind of quad channel that you would have on a Strix Halo. So Strix Halo, aka Ryzen AI Max, and Threadripper are kind of similar in the sense that they both have quad channel, 4 memory channels. A standard Ryzen and a standard Intel Core desktop platform only has 2 memory channels. Doesn't matter if you're running 2 sticks or 4 sticks, you're still on 2 memory channels. Where Threadripper has 4, and Strix Halo also has 4. That is the reason why I don't... It's like, if you're really, really serious about AI, I don't recommend the standard Ryzen or the standard Intel. You really want to go to a quad channel platform if you want to do if you want to have the ability to scale up. Remember what we talked about yesterday: scale up versus scale out. Everyone who watched that live stream understands what it means when I say scale up. Remember the memes of Jensen: scale up, scale out, scale up. We're gonna scale up, scale out, scale up, scale out, scale up, scale down, scale up. So we're talking about scaling up. Scaling up. Stack them up, add more GPUs. So you're going to need that quad channel, you're going to need that memory bandwidth. That is the concept of scaling up. So this platform allows me to scale up. I can go up to 4 GPUs, which is actually, funnily enough, that is NVIDIA's reference architecture, is 4 GPUs for the GB300 tray. All right. So that's going to be it, guys. We are approaching the 2-hour mark. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. We did start really late because of Halloween. So, but I did want to get this done. I didn't want this to be sitting around waiting for me to build this. So I went ahead and did it here. And that's going to be it. We will be answering questions, I guess, on the next live stream. If you have tech questions, feel free to bring them to the Tech Thursdays show, or if you want to ask them during like a gaming live stream, if I'm doing that, you can do that. It's not as ideal, but you can do that. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. And I'm going to go ahead and go to sleep because I'm exhausted. I will see you guys next time.